All right, this is day one of our February program. So today we will use probably 2 sets of dumbbells. What I'm gonna do is a set of 15 pounds that I'll probably use for most of this. I generally would go heavier, but again, just trying to make this more accessible for folks to follow along with at home. So I'm gonna use a pair of 15-pound dumbbells. And then for my chest fly, I'm gonna use 10s. And then the last thing we'll need is a band for a Pallof press. Using dumbbells for primarily all of this. For our split squats, we will need some sort of bench or couch, ottoman, whatever, to put that back leg up on. And if you do have more equipment at home, then go heavier for your deadlifts or if you have a barbell. So back leg is going to be up on a bench for our Bulgarian split squats. Right now, since it's a shorter version of what the full program is, we're going to do just 1 set of 8 reps on each side. Then we'll move on to the next one, which is going to be our deadlifts, which I'm going to show 2 sets. And then moving on to our chest press, same thing. We're just going to stay. If you have a bench, then you'll use a bench. You can do these on the floor as well for a chest press. Same thing. I'm going to do 2 sets there. Because I'm using a little bit lighter weights, I am going to go a little higher on the rep range. So I'll probably actually hit maybe 10 to 12 reps there. And then I'm going to grab the lighter weights for the chest fly. Same thing. I can either stay on the floor or go to a bench. And since it is lighter weight, we'll go slow, but we'll probably go a little higher on the rep range. And then setting up a band. We do need an anchor point that's about chest height for the band. Because I have the squat rack right here, I am going to tie it to the squat rack, but you can also use let me turn this around here. I have one of these things that go on the door that you can tie bands to, or a carabiner. So you could use, so something like that can work as well. And we'll just do 1 set of each of those movements. Okay, I already have my dumbbells out. I'm going to flip the camera around and let's get started. All right, we're getting set up for our Bulgarians. I have a small bench here and then my dumbbells are on the floor. So back leg is going to be on the bench. So I want to make sure that I'm staying hip width apart. So when I put my back foot up, I kind of want that to be more in the center there and then have that right foot out a little bit. For the distance, so I'm going to say I probably need to hop out a little bit more. My hips here are going to stay square. And then I want to hit more of my glute. So I'm actually working my right leg, which is my standing leg right now. And I want to hit more glute. So I'm going to hover more like my trunk over this front foot. So when I go back and down, I'm loading up this back glute. So let me switch sides so you can actually see the working leg. Okay, so here I'm standing tall. I want to hinge more. Standing tall. I actually want to hinge more to this front leg. I'm still pushing through my big toe, pinky toe, and my heel, but as I drive this hip back, I'm still keeping my trunk over this front leg. And then you should get a nice stretch in the glute at the bottom. Okay, so nice and slow, trying to get as much range as you can. I'm gonna grab these weights now. Okay, 8 on each side. 3, 4, and you can see my knee isn't really traveling forward over my whole foot because again, I'm trying to load up the glute. I think this is 7, 1 more, and 8. Okay, switching sides. Again, I'm going to stand a little bit more to the right. So when I put this back leg up, I can stay hip distance and square with my hips. All right. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 more, and 8. All right, shake it out. So again, just the 1 set of 8 there. And then we're going to set up for our deadlifts. Again, if you have heavier weights, please go heavier. If you have a barbell, use a barbell. So with our deadlifts, because I have dumbbells here, I'm not going to get the traditional conventional deadlift where we're pulling from the floor. We're starting at the top with our weights at our hips. We'll still try to treat this as a conventional deadlift. So as you send the hips back to get a nice stretch, we're going to bend the knees just a little bit just to get, again, more glute activation. Hips go back, slight bend in the knees. There's 2, 3. I'm locking in my lats, so I'm not breaking away at my shoulders. Redo that one. There's 4, 5, 6, getting a nice stretch in the hamstrings, and then squeezing the butt to come up. 1 more. And there's 8. Okay, set those weights down, and then we're gonna rest for a good minute. And we're gonna do that 1 more time. So the deadlift is 2 rounds. So rest here, grab some water. Oh. All right, 10 seconds, and then we'll pick up those dumbbells again if you need to adjust weights. Yeah, now's the time to either grab something different. All right, here we go. Set 2. Grab those weights again. All right, weights are at your front side. Your feet are hip width apart. Send the butt back, getting a stretch, slight bend in the knees, squeeze the glutes. Another thing too, as we hinge down, we don't want to collapse the knees. Still kind of think about driving the knees out. I think this is 6. 7, 1 more. And then there's your 8. All right. So we are done with our deadlifts, and now we're moving on to our upper body. So I'm just going to come down to the floor for our chest press, and I'm going to keep these 15-pounders. So with our chest press, while we're resting here, when you have those weights above your shoulder, that's your starting position. As you bend the elbow kind of at a 45, this wrist now is more in line with the chest because we're doing a chest press. If the elbows come out way too like perpendicular to your body, that's in line with your shoulders, that's just funkiness on your shoulder and more risk for things to be uncomfortable. So wrist starts over the shoulder. As you come down, you're bending those elbows or pointing those elbows about 45 degrees down. The weights should be in line with the chest, and then you're pressing back up over the shoulders because we want to be stacked at the top of the movement. Okay, here we go. Let me grab these. Pressing up. All right, get those shoulder blades underneath. So we're kind of poofing up the chest here. So my wrists are over my shoulders. As I'm coming down, elbows 45 in between the chest. I'm not going to rest at the bottom, but my elbows are going to tap slightly. And we're shooting for 10 to 12 reps here. So really thinking about mind muscle connection of squeezing through the chest. There's 4. Nice and controlled. 5. 6. 7. 8. Just trying to control these weights. 9. Here's 10. I am going to go to 12. So staying tight. Here's 11. And 12. Nice and slow. Slowly come down. And we'll rest for another minute because, again, this one is 2 rounds. All right, 5 seconds. Okay. And time is up. All right, coming back down. Last set of our chest press. Okay, engaging the chest. We're going to 12. Nice and controlled. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, and 12. All right, we are done with our chest press, and then we just have one more superset to go through, which is our chest fly. I'm gonna come back down to the floor. I have my 10s right here, and then I have already set up the band for the Pallof press. So I've got that one set up right there. Okay, grab whatever you need to. I'm gonna put these 15s away. Okay, so I've got the band about chest height, and then I've got my 10s. So let's get ready for that superset. Coming back down to the floor. with our chest fly. So same kind of setup, tucking those shoulders under, pressing our weight up. But now I'm going to be focused more on my chest range. So when I come out, keeping the elbows softly bent, I'm getting a nice stretch in the chest. And then I'm almost thinking about leading with my pinkies back up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're shooting for 10 to 12. 6, keep those elbows softly bent, opening wide like a hug. I think this is 9, leading with the pinkies up. 10, I can knock out 2 more. 11, 1 more. And 12. All right, bringing those weights down. And then we're coming up to the band. And then I wanted to angle this a little bit. Okay. Band is around an anchor point. This, I'm going to say, is our anchor. When we step out, we want our hands to be in line with the anchor, so we're going to step away. With the hand that's closest to the anchor, you're going to get some resistance. Clasp the fingertips together and hold that band. So right here, it's really hard. But then we're going to bring the hands into the chest, and then I'm pushing straight back out. So as I'm pushing out, I'm having to push resistance more away to stay in that straight line. So nice soft knees here, nice and slow. My shoulders are pulled down. And we're going 10 to 12. I'm pushing through my right leg, and I can feel like my glute, I can feel my back, but like the muscles stabilizing. And then obviously my belly's working here. I think this is 8, 9, 10. Let's go 2 more. 11, hold it out here for that little split second, because again, this is the hardest position right here. All right, switch sides. So I'm gonna actually switch this camera now. Anchor is there. My hands are going to be in line with the anchor, and I'm stepping away. This hand that's closest to the anchor is going to get some resistance, and then clasp fingertips with the opposite hand. And then I'm coming in, and then again, as I'm pushing out straight, I'm having to push a little bit more away to keep that straight line. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a really good ab exercise to stabilize. That's what our core does. It's 8, 9, 10, 2 more, 11, and there's 12. All right. That is our workout for day 1. Again, this was a shorter preview. If you want access to the full program, make sure to DM me Strong to get signed up, and it's $40 a month. All right, I'll see you in there.